Hey guys, welcome to this week's Telco Tips video. And this week is all about salesperson intent. Now, it's something that I wanted to run this video a little bit differently to what I normally do. Normally I just go, okay, Telco Tips video, here's a few points of things to look out for and this and that. The way I wanted to approach this one's a little bit differently. I want you to think about how this actually operates within your business as far as salespeople go. I mean, pretty well the majority of clients that I deal with have a sales team, and I'd say probably the majority of people watching this have some sort of sales arm to their business, whether it's you doing it yourself or you have a sales team you employ or whichever it is. But what I want you to do is actually focus on what your outcome is within your own business, and then we can actually use that and translate that through to Telco towards the end. So first of all, from as far as I'm concerned, there's two different ways of looking at sales. You can either want to max out the deal value of every deal you do, or you want to build a relationship with the client. You can't actually do both simultaneously, right? You don't ever see somebody go in and go, okay, well, I want to max out the deal value of this deal, but I also want to build the relationship. It doesn't work, right? You also don't have somebody going, well, okay, my focus is building a relationship, but I also want to max out and make as much. It's not going to work, right? You have to focus on one or the other. And there's no right or wrong here, by the way. If you're focused on maximizing the value of every single deal, that's not necessarily wrong, right? You just need to understand that that's what the focus is. And same as if you're focused on building relationships. It's not the wrong thing to do. It's just you need to focus on or understand that that's what you're focused on, right? I've built my businesses based on relationships. I always prioritize relationships over maxing out the deal, to the point where I've walked away from a number of deals that sales managers and sales reps watching this video, if they only knew how much value that I left on the table, because it wasn't right for the client. And I will always prioritize relationships over value, monetary value. So I just wanted to get you thinking about that within your own business. Is which one do you focus on when you're dealing with a client? Is it something where you're selling a product and you might be able to sell a product for $100,000? You'll never see that client again. That's not the sort of business that you're in where you have an ongoing relationship. It's just a transactional business. Here's your product, see you later, have fun. Or is it something where you do want to maintain the relationship and you're wanting to have referrals and repeat business and what have you? Two very distinct approaches, and as I say, neither of them are wrong. It's just understanding which one you're in and which one is your focus. And then translate that across to Telco. So understand, if you've got your sales team going out and your sales team has a monthly target and all you care about is them hitting their monthly target, you want them to max out on the deal, right? If they're able to build a relationship with a few clients in the process, great. But your main focus is that you want them to max out on the deal value and hit their targets. So that if they hit their targets, you hit your targets, the company grows, and away you go, right? It's more, to me, that's more of a short-term mentality, but it's the way a lot of businesses are. And as I say, there's nothing wrong with that. Short-term's fine if that's what suits you. Then there's the other side where it's long-term, and would you prefer your salespeople to go out there and build a relationship with the client? And maybe they're, instead of getting a $50,000 deal today, they're getting a $2,000 a month deal every month for the next 2 years. Works out to essentially the same amount, but they've built that relationship, and over that 2-year period, you're more likely to pick up repeat business or referrals or what have you, because you're building that relationship. So it's two different ways of looking at it. As I say, completely up to you which one you choose, but just understand which area you're in, okay? And then when you relate it to Telco, understand when a salesperson comes to you trying to sell you a product, they're in one of these two categories as well. They're either after the maximum deal value, or they're interested in building the relationship. And having spent 20 years in Telco, I can tell you the majority, and I've been the same for many, many years. Most of my Telco life, I've been in roles where I've had sales targets, and my whole focus has been, okay, what have I got to do to hit those targets? Okay, and that's what you're pushed to do. That's what you're focused on, and everything surrounding you is focused on hitting those targets. Whereas now I'm more on the build the relationship side. So it's just about what you prefer, but understand when somebody comes to you from a Telco point of view that they are in one of these categories. Now, the easy way to understand which category they're in, go back and watch last week's video. I'll put a link to it below. But in that video, I talk about after sales service, and understanding, whether you're being forced to call customer service or whether you're dealing with an account manager versus a sales rep, and getting references out of people and what have you to understand which one you're dealing with. And that kind of leads into understanding where they're coming from, right? What their salesperson's true intent. And from there, you'll be able to work out, okay, if you're dealing with somebody and their entire focus is to max out the deal value, that's perfectly fine, right? I'm not saying don't deal with them, but you know what their focus is. So whatever they come to you with, those people are likely going to come to you and go, okay, this is the best deal for you. This is the one you need to go with, right? And they've probably got another one up their sleeve in case they can't get you sold on the max deal value. They've got another one and they'll pull out and go, well, look, as a second option, we can do this, right? That's most likely the sort of relationship you're going to have. That's probably the experience you're going to have in dealing with them. And again, perfectly fine if you understand that's who you're dealing with and that's the sort of mentality that they have and what their focus is, and that's what they're after. Versus you're looking at somebody that's looking to build a relationship, they're more likely going to come to you and go, well, look, here's 3 or 4 different options. And again, this is what my focus is. So I can talk to you about, this is what I do with my clients, is here's 3 or 4 different options. Let's talk through the pros and cons of each. And we pretty much have a conversation together around, okay, well, which one do you feel is going to be the best one for you? And, process of elimination, we get rid of the ones that aren't going to work. And inevitably what happens is they end up coming to me and going, well, actually, that one looks like the best deal for us, whether it's on cost or on service or on whatever it is. They are the ones, the client at the end of the day is the one that typically makes that decision. It's not me forcing it on them or trying to railroad them onto a specific deal. So again, it's not, there's no right or wrong either way, okay? I've done both. I know a lot of people that do both. There's probably people that are watching this that have done both and are in that position as well. So it's not a case of saying one is better than the other here. It's a case of understand what you're doing within your own business to understand that these different options exist. And then when somebody comes to you to discuss whether it's telco, it could be, there's 50 different things that this could relate to. It's not just telco, obviously, right? But understanding when somebody comes to you and tries to sell you a product or a service or whatever, that they're going to fall into one of these categories. And once you understand which category they're in, then you know how to approach that. If they're in the category where they're quite clearly just after the maximum deal value, then what I would say to you straight away is never accept the first offer. Just don't do it. And a lot of people would say that anyway, but especially when you're dealing with somebody that's after that maximum deal value, their first offer is always going to be the maximum deal value. And if you're dealing with somebody that is looking to build a relationship, then have the discussion with them around, the references and all of that as well, so that you can get a sense of, okay, is this guy full of shit or is this guy for real and he actually wants to build a relationship, or is he just trying to close a deal? And again, you'll get a part of that from the previous video, but ask for those references and you'll be able to get a good understanding of how legitimate is this, and is this the sort of person I'm going to want to work with. And the irony that I've found in this as well is that when you focus on building a relationship, and when you've got the client and the salesperson focused on building a relationship, a lot of the time what will happen is the client is actually happy to pay a premium anyway, because they're prepared to pay the extra because they see the value in the relationship. Whereas when they know they're dealing with somebody that's just trying to max out the value, you're already on your guard because you go, okay, well, this guy's just trying to get money out of me, right? It's not the sort of relationship where you're going to have a discussion. It's more of a, he's trying to sell to me type thing. And again, nothing wrong with either approach, right? I've done both. They both work. They both can work for both parties, but it's just about understanding the intent. And if you understand the intent, it will save you a lot of time and money, and not even just money on the deal, but just money in time that you spend going through. If you think that you're dealing with somebody that's after relationships and you find out after the fact that they're just trying to max out the deal, that can cost you a lot of money as well. So just be very careful of that one, because it's the worst thing that can happen, right? If you, on your side, you're looking at trying to maintain a relationship with your telco company, and the person you're dealing with is just trying to max out the value, and you don't understand that you two are after a completely different thing, that's the worst case, because a lot of the time they're going to convince you of something, because a lot of them are very, very good salespeople, right? Very good salespeople. They'll convince you that you need the most expensive product. You'll sign on to the most expensive product thinking, okay, I'm getting a relationship out of this guy. And then the first time there's an issue, he doesn't want to know you, or she doesn't want to know you, right? Just be aware of it, okay? Because it exists. So again, no issue either side, just be aware of it, and it will actually help you hopefully within your own business to understand where you fit within your business, and whether your salespeople are just after the max deal or after they're building a relationship, and what you would prefer them to be doing as well, because there's different mentalities for different businesses, and you run yours the way that you want, but certainly worth thinking about. So I hope you got some value out of that. Please feel free to subscribe, click the little bell below, and you will get these videos will come out each week on a Tuesday at 6 o'clock Perth time, so you get a notification each time that's released. And if you feel like there's anybody else out there that's going to get value from these videos, please feel free to share them. But I will put that link to last week's video below as well, so you can go and check that out. Any comments, questions, what have you, put them below, and I will get to those as well. So thanks guys, enjoy your Tuesday night, and look forward to bringing you another video next week. Cheers.